What is up, everybody? Welcome into the show. You're watching the San Francisco 49ers Report. My name is Chase Sr. No signings as of yet for the Niners on day 2 of free agency, but there's a lot to talk about here on the show. I have some more thoughts on this Mike Evans deal and why I think it's a great move for San Francisco, of course, if he can stay healthy. The Niners got some great news from the NFL, looking ahead to the NFL draft. Stay tuned for that. We have a Brandon Aiyuk update because of what is happening with other teams and the moves that team and teams are trying to make. We have a Mac Jones trade update as well, and then the latest updates on Trent Williams. Before we get to all of that, you know the drill. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for daily and year-round coverage of the Niners. We're always bringing the heat. This is your go-to spot for the best offseason coverage, and of course, once the season comes around, we're always talking Niners football here on the program. Let's begin with Mike Evans here. Yesterday, signing that 3-year deal up to $60.4 million. But I love this move for San Francisco for a couple of reasons. The money, it's such an affordable contract. Really what he's getting is $14 million per year, $16 million in guaranteed money. It's pretty much a 1-year move for the 49ers. If it works out, great bang for your buck and a great bargain. If it doesn't, it's not going to hurt you too much on the salary cap. So this is an affordable contract at a position that is taking off as far as the financials at that position and what the market value is. You see players like Alec Pierce going for 29, and then you see the Niners getting a future Hall of Famer in Mike Evans at that type of dollar figure. Mike Evans is also a great fit for head coach Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan's going to be able to get in his bag with finding ways to scheme open Mike Evans from a play design standpoint, play calling point of view, but also utilizing the route tree of Mike Evans and the routes that he is elite at running fits what the Niners like at the wide receiver spot. Also, Mike Evans is a great fit for the quarterback in Brock Purdy. What does Brock Purdy do such a good job of? Processing, but also throwing with timing, touch, accuracy, anticipation. He trusts his wide receivers. He throws a lot of 50-50 balls. You put it in the same zip code as Mike Evans, he's coming down with those balls, but he's also a tremendous red zone target for Brock Purdy. Whether it be corner fades, whether it be him winning routes with good footwork, using his physicality and his 6'5" frame to shield off DBs, but he can also go up and get at high point footballs because he has elite athleticism and the ability to go up and snatch the ball out of the air. He has great hands, but he also complements Purdy's skill set, but the other players on this Niners team, George Kittle once he comes back, Christian McCaffrey, and Ricky Pearsall. I think Kyle Shanahan's going to have a lot of fun with drawing up 9s, for instance, for Mike Evans, but then the deep crossers for Ricky Pearsall. And Mike Evans demands a lot of attention and a lot of double teams. What happened so often last year? The Niners didn't really have guys with Ricky Pearsall out, George Kittle in and out of the lineup, a bad offensive line who could create separation but also draw double teams. Mike Evans will do that on the boundary. So safeties in 2025 were playing in the box. Teams were loading up the line of scrimmage. That helped them get pressure on Brock Purdy. It helped them stop the run game. Mike Evans can help to ease the void there and take attention away from teams loading up the box. Going back to what Purdy does really well. I've always said this about Purdy, and I've talked about these numbers so often. Everybody thinks that he has a noodle arm, that he can't throw the deep ball, that he can't throw deep. Brock Purdy is a really good deep ball thrower. This is backed up by his accuracy, his completion rate on deep balls, and that's with him not having a lot of separation from his wide receivers. Brock Purdy in 2025 completed 33 passes of 20-plus yards in 9 games. He averaged nearly 4 explosive completions per game. Mike Evans had an average depth of target of nearly 13.5 yards. He's going to be able to get open downfield. 4.5 speed, but again, what you have to factor in, how big of a target he is, the wingspan, his ability to tower over DBs, but he uses that big frame and physicality to box out defenders. So Purdy is aggressive in throwing the deep ball. Mike Evans can get vertical and take the top off of the defense. The Niners last year didn't have a player who could do that. Also, as far as separation, Mike Evans can create separation. His separation numbers in 2023-2024 were elite. His separation win rate, 22.1%. Ricky Pearsall's separation win rate, 19.6%. Guess where that ranked Mike Evans? Number 2. Where did that rank Ricky Pearsall? Number 3. Lastly, Mike Evans wanted to be a Niner. His criteria for going to his next team: wanted a chance to win a Super Bowl. Check. Wanted to play with an elite quarterback. Check. Wanted a great play caller and offensive coordinator. Check. He wanted target share and target volume. Check. For the breaking news video yesterday, I talked about that. And the Niners can check off all those boxes. And then there was a clip that went viral from LaShawn McCoy. He was with Mike Evans over the weekend. And he said, there's a good chance I'm going to go to the Niners. And I think Mike Evans saw what an older player, Devontae Adams, could do in a Sean McVay type of offense last year, the opportunities that created. And Mike Evans said, I want me some of that. So this is a really intriguing signing at the price tag. And Mike Ortaza had some of those great numbers on X. A shout out to him. The 49ers also getting some great news from the National Football League. Late yesterday, the NFL rewarded the Niners 3 compensatory picks, all of which in the 4th round. And this is actually pretty historical what the Niners have done as far as taking advantage of the compensatory pick formula. This is something that I have discussed on the show time and time again, that they have mastered the compensatory pick formula. Since 2020, when teams started to take advantage of this, when rules started to allow teams to master the comp pick formula, since it became a thing, since 2020, the Niners have now compiled 28 compensatory picks in the NFL draft, most in the National Football League. What did the Niners do last offseason? They weren't too active in free agency signing external players. They signed a lot of their own guys, but not a lot of external options. They built through the draft. Why? Because those players are cost-controlled assets for the next few years. What does it look like the Niners are going to do and want to do this offseason again with an expensive roster that is older, still eating some dead money? They want to build through the draft. The Niners are going to be able to do that. This gives you flexibility with where you can use these picks, but also if you want to trade those picks. So the Niners right now have 7 picks coming up in the 2026 draft. 27th overall, 58th overall, 92 overall. 3 picks in the top 100. Not great, but still pretty good. What if you package 27 and 58 to move up the board? That gives you flexibility. Now, you cannot trade compensatory picks, but in the 4th round, the Niners are at 127, 133, 138, and 139. You could trade 127 to move up, knowing in your back pocket, you've got those compensatory picks at 133, 138, 139. And if you want to trade out, you can also do that if you want to move back. If the board is falling your way, again, not with those compensatory picks, but with that 4th rounder at 127, knowing you're next on the clock at 133, then 138, 139. Not a lot of distance between those. And of course, you can trade future picks as well. The Niners do not have picks in the 5th to 7th rounds because they traded those away for Bryce Huff, Brian Robinson, Khalil Davis. But the Niners have 7 picks all inside the first 4 rounds. And a lot of people look at this draft class as having the most value and depth between 75 and 150. Where are the Niners between 75 and 150. Again, 92, 127, 133, 138, 139. And those contracts for players in those draft slots, if they hit on those picks, very cheap and affordable. So the Niners need to keep hitting in the draft. Having the ammo allows you to have an opportunity to do that. Brandon Aiyuk update, Mac Jones trade update, Trent Williams news coming up in just a moment. But we've continued to push a lot of our Chat Sports merchandise over the last couple of days. And a lot of you have purchased some 49ers Report shirts. It's a great design and you can support the program, but also these Dub City shirts are incredible. A couple of months ago, linked up with our design guy, Arnold, who's been crushing it across the board at Chat Sports. And we've been selling merchandise like crazy, and we created these shirts. Anytime the Niners get a victory, Fred Warner goes up to the camera and he goes, Dub City! So we turned it into a shirt. Dub City shirts available in red. And then we have black hoodies available where the logo is on the left chest. How do you get them? They're very affordable, great material. They'll last you a long time. You can wear these forever. They're timeless. Chatsports.com/DubCity. Good for a game day. Good for during the season. Good for the offseason because they look good and the design is fresh. Chatsports.com/DubCity. Let's talk some Brandon Aiyuk here. So the New England Patriots signed Romeo Doubs today. But the Washington Commanders were one of the two teams that Romeo Doubs was seriously looking at. Now, this is news for the Niners because Romeo Doubs is not signing with San Francisco. And I had said it yesterday. The signing of Mike Evans took the Niners out of the Romeo Doubs sweepstakes, in my opinion. I think the Niners sign Mike Evans here. They draft a wide receiver. You've got Ricky Pearsall. Then you let Jacob Cowing, Jordan Watkins compete to be the speed guy. You could cut Demarcus Robinson if you wanted to, or that's another wide receiver that you could have. And then you let Jawan Jennings walk because he could demand a lot of money. The skill sets for Jennings and Evans, too similar. Both tall, not really too fast. Although Jennings better in the slot. Evans, obviously an outside wide receiver. But going back to the Commanders, they were a finalist for Romeo Doubs. They were a finalist for Alec Pierce. They couldn't get either of those two wide receivers. That shows me, though, and tells everybody, they look at wide receiver as a big need. Could they settle for Brandon Aiyuk once Aiyuk is released on Wednesday as an option to address the wide receiver spot? They've long been rumored to be interested in Aiyuk. They are one of the teams who were in the trade mix for BA last year in the lead up to Aiyuk signing that contract. I should say going into 2024. Brandon Aiyuk is best friends with Jaden Daniels, and it's almost been like the worst kept secret. BA to Washington tomorrow or at some point this offseason would not surprise me. Mac Jones update. According to Diana Rossini, teams have called the Niners about a Mac Jones trade, but the asking price for the Niners is excessive. It's way too high. And this tells me a couple things, right? Niners value Mac Jones. They should. He went 5-3 last year. He played really well. They also have some concerns about Brock Purdy's injury history. He's a smaller quarterback. He's dealt with injuries. I don't think Brock Purdy is necessarily brittle, but he's had some injuries. And the best security that you can have, as I always say, is quarterback security. So obviously the asking price always starts higher and the team can come down. But right now it doesn't seem like the Niners are willing to move Mac Jones unless they get a really good pick. Teams with starting quarterback jobs still available. As of this recording, 3:41 p.m. Eastern on this Tuesday, 12:41 p.m. Pacific. Arizona Cardinals. They signed Gardner Minshew. They have Jacoby Brissett. Mac Jones is better than them both. It's a weak quarterback draft class. Minnesota, long been linked to Mac Jones. You pair Jones up with Kevin O'Connell. I like the fit there. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Are they going to go with Will Howard? Will Aaron Rodgers come back? We'll see. Cleveland, in-house competition. I think they go with the in-house options. Indianapolis, looks like the Colts and Daniel Jones are working out a long-term deal. New York Jets off the table. They traded for Geno Smith. Miami Dolphins, off the table. They signed Malik Willis. So the quarterback available teams or quarterback needy teams are starting to dwindle, which is taking options away for the Niners as far as a Mac Jones trade destination. All along, I've said that Minnesota makes the most sense. I'd put Pittsburgh in there as well. Other options available for quarterback needy teams. Kyler Murray, a free agent. Aaron Rodgers, a free agent. Kirk Cousins will be a free agent starting on Wednesday. Justin Fields, Derek Carr, if he comes out of retirement, the Fresno State legend. Trent Williams update. Peter Schrager said the Niners absolutely love Trent Williams. They want to get a deal done. That's the newest update on that front. It's the smartest play to work out a deal. What could throw a wrench into the Trent Williams financial discourse and conversation is how often the offensive tackle market is changing. These offensive linemen are getting overpaid in free agency. Shoot, we saw center Tyler Linderbaum get $27 million per year. On an average annual value basis, that's right up there with Trent Williams. Trent Williams could be saying, yeah, I'm about to be 38, but I'm still maybe the best left tackle in the game. You got to pay me. What the Niners, though, want, probably to definitely lower the cap hit, which in 2026 is nearly $39 million. And I think a way to do that, give them guaranteed money, just get it done. Don't have a situation like you had in 2024 where he held out, didn't do anything throughout camp or in the preseason. Then he was never in shape and healthy, and he barely played that year. Get it done early, avoid that, and learn your lesson from what has happened of late. With Debo coming in late, out of shape. Aiyuk coming in late, out of shape. Bosa coming in late, out of shape. Trent Williams coming in late, wasn't ready. So that's the latest on the Niners front. Don't forget to give me a follow on social media. You can find me on X, Instagram, TikTok, at Chase_Senior. I'm on Facebook, Chase Senior Chat Sports. I'm giving you Niners content there, and of course, always on YouTube.